A lot of men over 60 tell me some version of the same thing. Nothing's really changed about how I do things, but something feels different lately. No new diagnosis. No new medication. Just different. Here's what I've noticed working with men in this age group. It's rarely about whether they're active. It's about a handful of small habits nobody ever mentions to them. I'm a health educator focused on men's wellness after 60 today. 7 habits that can quietly affect energy, circulation, and confidence after 60, and simple ways to adjust them. Number 6 is the one almost nobody thinks about until it's already a problem. If this is useful, subscribing helps more men in this stage of life find it. And I'd love to know in the comments, what's one thing about aging you wish someone had told you sooner? Habit 1. Leaning too hard on high-intensity visual stimulation. As men get older, the brain's reward system, the dopamine pathway tied to pleasure and motivation, tends to become less responsive to strong, repeated overstimulation. Some researchers describe this as a kind of desensitization. The more intense and constant the stimulus, the less responsive the system becomes to gentler, everyday sensations like real touch or intimacy. This isn't a personal failing, and it isn't necessarily just getting older. It may be your nervous system adapting to a pattern. Try this. A short break from high-stimulation content, even just a week or two, combined with paying closer attention to touch, breath, and presence, can help some men notice a difference in sensitivity. It's a low-cost experiment worth trying before assuming nothing can change. Bridge. And it's not just what you do. Where and how you do it matters more than most men realize. Habit 2. Doing it in a hunched, seated position for long periods. Posture affects blood flow, that part is well established. Sitting hunched forward for extended periods can restrict circulation to the pelvic region. And good pelvic blood flow supports erectile function, prostate health, and bladder control. If you've noticed pelvic tightness, mild groin discomfort, or changes in urine flow, posture is one of the more overlooked variables worth ruling out, alongside talking to a doctor if symptoms persist. Try this. A more open, reclined, or standing position gives the pelvic region more room and better circulation than a hunched, seated one. Bridge. Posture is about space. The next habit is about speed. Habit 3. Rushing through it. When something is rushed, the body tends to stay in a higher stress state, heart rate up, muscles tense, rather than shifting into the calmer, parasympathetic state associated with oxytocin release, the hormone linked to bonding, relaxation, and post-release satisfaction. Men who consistently rush the experience sometimes report climaxing but still feeling drained rather than satisfied afterward. Try this. Slowing down isn't about performance, it's about letting your nervous system actually complete the relaxation response, not just the physical one. Bridge. Speed affects your nervous system. This next one affects a muscle group almost nobody's ever told to think about. Habit 4. Ignoring the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor supports the bladder, prostate, and sexual organs, and it plays a real role in erectile function and continence. It's also a muscle group that weakens with age, prolonged sitting, and general disuse, much like any other muscle. Men who are otherwise active and healthy can still have a weak pelvic floor simply because it's never been part of their routine. Try this. Gently engaging the same muscles used to stop urination midstream. Holding briefly, then releasing, is a widely recommended way, often called Kegel exercises, to build awareness and tone over time. If symptoms like dribbling or weak flow persist, that's worth bringing to a doctor or a pelvic floor physical therapist rather than self-treating indefinitely. Bridge. Once the foundation's addressed, the next question is one almost every man asks privately. How often is normal? Habit 5. Getting frequency out of balance, in either direction. There's no single correct number here. And be skeptical of anyone who gives you one with total confidence. What's more useful is paying attention to your own pattern. If it feels compulsive, exhausting, or like it's crowding out other parts of life, that's worth examining. If it's so infrequent that it feels avoidant or tied to anxiety rather than choice, that's worth examining too. Try this. Instead of chasing a number, notice how you feel afterward, energized and at ease or depleted. That's a better guide than any statistic. Bridge. Even with frequency dialed in, one physical habit can undo the benefit, and it's the one most men do instinctively. Habit 6. Using more pressure or force than the body actually needs. As sensitivity naturally decreases with age, a common instinct is to compensate with more grip or friction. But the tissue involved is sensitive, and repeated excess pressure or friction over time has been linked by some clinicians to microtrauma, reduced sensitivity, and in some cases conditions like Peyronie's disease, a curvature caused by scar tissue, though Peyronie's has multiple potential causes and isn't fully explained by this alone. The instinct to push through reduced sensitivity by adding force often backfires, dulling sensation further rather than restoring it. Try this. A gentler approach, along with a lubricant if things feel dry or tight, tends to preserve sensitivity better than more pressure. Bridge. Everything so far has been physical. The last one isn't, and it might matter more than all the others combined. Habit 7. Losing the emotional connection to the experience. For a lot of men, over time this becomes purely mechanical, something done out of habit, boredom, or loneliness rather than genuine desire. When that happens, some of the real physiological benefits, the oxytocin release, the sense of calm and satisfaction, tend to fade along with the emotional engagement. This shows up as climaxing but still feeling flat or empty afterward, which often gets misread as just getting older, when it may really be about disconnection. Try this. Treating the experience with the same presence and intention you'd bring to any meaningful part of your life, rather than autopilot, tends to restore more of what's been missing than any physical fix alone. So, quick recap. Watch the intensity of visual stimulation, mind your posture, slow down, don't skip the pelvic floor, listen to your own rhythm instead of a magic number, ease up on pressure, and stay emotionally present. None of this replaces an actual conversation with your doctor if something feels persistently off. This is general information, not a diagnosis for your specific situation. If this was useful, subscribe for more like it and let me know in the comments which one surprised you most.